Hi everyone, this is Susan again. This is my No Surprises Hip Replacement Recovery series. In the last video, I mentioned to you that we'd be traveling to the kitchen. And you might be thinking, well, what does the kitchen have to do with hip replacement recovery? Well, apparently a lot more than what you would think. So as I previously mentioned, I've had 5 different surgeries in the last 4 years, and this has never been an issue for me. But when I got home from the hospital this time, I found out that I was having problems with digesting certain foods. And so I did some research online and found out that hip replacements and other surgeries, like in that category, can make it really challenging for some people to digest food. So you may not have this issue, but I wanted to share some insights with you so that you're better prepared in case this is a challenge for you as well. And if you stay with me to the end of the video, I'm going to share the number one food that you definitely want to avoid early on. So, as you know, when you're preparing for any type of surgery, a lot of people will say, well, get some of these handy boxes you can get from a popular casual dining restaurant. You can make some great foods at home so that you and your spouse or family are ready and prepared. Well, fortunately, I didn't do that this time because I knew that my husband was going to be getting some takeout food from some restaurants that I really liked in the area. My daughter was going to stay with us and she was going to be making some meals. My daughter-in-law and son offered to bring some food as well. And my sister was going to be sending food. So I thought, well, we're going to be prepared for the first few days for sure. And so I'm glad I didn't have anything prepared in advance. So that when I got home and started having the issues, I knew what foods I could have and what I couldn't have. So we weren't wasting a lot of food. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I learned of what you could have and what to avoid to make the recovery much smoother for you. So obviously things that you can have early on are things like, any type of bread or toast. You can have things like rice, applesauce. You can also have things like pasta. Those things are really easy. Also something like oatmeal, which is very easy to digest as well. So a number of those things are kind of the typical things that are just easy to digest. Definitely want to have those things on hand. Now today I'm in about day 12 after having hip replacement about 12 days ago. And so I've read that you can start to introduce a few other types of things. Things like, for example, tuna fish with just a little bit of mayonnaise, nothing heavy. You can also start to look at things like having some eggs. And it's recommended online that they say you should try these things during the day when you're up and around to see how your body tolerates them. So some things that you definitely are going to want to avoid would be anything that's sort of heavy in kind of sauces or gravies. Definitely too hard on a lot of people for their stomachs. Also coffee, whether it's decaf or caffeinated, tea as well, any of those things. Chocolate, which I love getting chocolate after surgeries, but that wasn't going to work. One of my most favorite things would be ice cream, frozen yogurt. Definitely not something I could tolerate early on. Or any kind of really sweet treats, cakes and cookies that are loaded with a lot of sugar, not something you could really enjoy early on. And the reason is that a lot of these things could cause gas, bloating, but the most significant issue you have to worry about is obviously you're not going to be moving very quickly early on. And you frankly just want to avoid having an accident, which could cause other issues when it comes to infection and anything else. So it's a matter of just being safe about what your body can tolerate, how you're going to feel good, but also preventing some type of an accident. So you might be asking, well, what kind of foods can I have? Well, you can have chicken and turkey and vegetables with them, having something really healthy and just light like that. Those types of proteins go down really well. Fortunately, I never outgrew my love for things like animal crackers, so those are tolerated really well. Of course, any type of crackers that you might want to have on hand, or cookies, but you want to look for ones that are soft as well as lower in sugar than other varieties. So these are all things that are good to have stocked on hand because they're things that you can have. Another thing that you want to have on hand would be a snack or dinner tray. Now, we're fortunate that we have a really big countertop in the kitchen. So this is helpful to me that I could take things out of the refrigerator, put it on this tray, slide it around on the counter to where my bar stool was, and then sit there and eat. So it was nice to kind of give myself some independence during the day. And when I was alone, that was helpful. When I have dinner with my husband at night, he would use it as a tray that would go in the family room. Highly recommend you get something like this. Very helpful. So those are things that I really recommend that you would want to think about avoiding versus having early on. Now, again, these issues may not be a problem for you, but it is something to be prepared for, that it can happen. And by thinking about some of these things in advance, you'll be very prepared. So as I mentioned to you up front, if you stayed to the end, I was going to share the number one thing that you don't want to have early on that might cause the most issues. And that is any type of kind of a protein shake. And I've got to tell you, in preparing for hip replacement over the last couple of years, my hip surgeon has actually recommended this product to me. And I'm glad he did, because I love this product and I have it regularly. But early on, something like this can be particularly hard to digest. So definitely after a few weeks, you'll be back and drinking it. I heard it's great. He tells me to build bone and it's a great thing to have. But early on, this could pose some challenges. So it's something you really want to be watchful of and probably avoid. So I'm hoping that these tips are going to be helpful to you. And again, I'm hoping you actually don't have this problem. But if you do, I hope these resources are helpful. And as I mentioned to you in all my videos, I am not a medical professional. I am not a nutritionist. This is not medical advice. This is just information from my own experience in going through hip replacement recovery right now, of giving you some tips and thoughts and ideas so that you'll have a smooth recovery. So I hope if you like this video, you will like and subscribe so that we'll continue to produce more content that will be helpful to others. And in our next video, I'm going to be talking to you about surprises in terms of physical therapy.